Picture this. The year is 1250 BC. You are standing on the banks of the Nile River, and the most powerful civilization on Earth around you in every direction. But here's what no documentary ever tells you. This is not a world of silence and golden sand. This is a world of noise, of smell, of color so intense it almost hurts your eyes. This is ancient Egypt, not the version you know from museums and movies. This is what it actually felt like to be here. Forget the white stone statues. Forget the beige desert ruins. In 1250 BC, Egypt is painted. Every temple wall blazes with turquoise, crimson, and gold. Every statue has eyes of obsidian and lapis lazuli. Every street smells of incense, fish, sweat in the dark, fertile mud of the Nile flood. This is the Egypt of Ramesses II, the most powerful pharaoh who ever lived. A man who calls himself a living god, and walks through a city of over 300,000 people who believe him. Today, you live one full day inside that world. Before the sun rises, the Nile moves. You hear it before you see it. The low, constant sound of water against papyrus reeds, the creak of wooden boats being lowered in the dark, the calls of ibis birds rising from the riverbank in long white arcs against the last stars of night. Pi-Ramesses, the royal capital of Egypt in 1250 BC, sits directly on the Nile Delta, and the river is not a backdrop here. The Nile is the city's heartbeat. Everything that keeps 300,000 people alive arrives by water. Grain from Upper Egypt, cattle from the Delta marshes, copper from Sinai, cedar wood from Lebanon, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, traveling thousands of miles to end up on the collar of a priest standing 40 meters from where you are standing right now. But here's what most people don't realize about the Nile at dawn. It doesn't smell like water. It smells like life. Rich, dark, almost overwhelming. The black silt that floods the banks every year and makes this desert into the most fertile farmland on Earth has a smell unlike anything in the modern world. Deep, mineral, alive. The Egyptians have a word for it. Kemet, the black land. It is why Egypt exists. And at dawn, standing on its banks, you understand exactly why they worshipped it. The sun rises differently here. It doesn't creep. It explodes. One moment the sky is deep indigo. The next, the horizon cracks open in a blaze of orange and gold so intense that the white limestone of the temple walls catches fire with reflected light. And Egypt worships this moment. Every morning, in every temple in every city along the Nile, priests are waking the gods. The ritual has happened every single day for over 1,000 years before this morning. It will happen every day for 1,000 years after. The Temple of Ramesses II rises in front of you, and it is nothing like the pale ruin you've seen in photographs. The walls are covered in scenes of battle and divine glory, painted in colors that almost hurt your eyes. Red, turquoise, gold, black, white. The colossal seated statues at the entrance, 60 feet tall, are painted flesh-toned, their crowns blazing blue and gold. A priest in a white linen robe, so fine you can see through it, passes you on the steps. His head is completely shaved. He carries a small alabaster jar of sacred oil. He does not look at you. He has a god to wake up. By mid-morning, Pi-Ramesses is fully alive, and it hits you like a wall. The main avenue leading to the palace complex is wide enough for 10 men to walk abreast, deliberately built for processions. And today it is packed. Merchants with donkeys loaded with amphorae, scribes moving between government buildings with papyrus rolls under their arms, soldiers in bronze armor and blue war crowns training in a courtyard. You can see through an open gate. Foreign diplomats in unfamiliar clothing, Nubians in leopard skin cloaks, Canaanite traders in brightly striped wool, Hittite envoys whose very presence here is a political statement. But something stops you. The color. You have never seen a city like this. Every surface that can be painted is painted. The temple pylons show Ramesses himself, 50 feet tall, smashing enemies with a war club, painted in vivid crimson and gold. The avenue is lined with sphinx statues painted turquoise and gold. Even the ordinary houses of the merchants and craftsmen are whitewashed brilliant white. Their wooden doors painted in deep blue and terracotta red. Egypt is not beige. Egypt has never been beige. Down at the river market, the world arrives every morning. The docks are controlled chaos. Wooden cargo boats with enormous linen sails being unloaded simultaneously. Their crews shouting in a dozen languages. Scribes with pallets and papyrus record every item coming off every boat. Because in Egypt, the state sees everything. The market itself stretches along the riverbank for half a mile. No coins exist here. Egypt won't use metal currency for another 800 years. Everything is traded in kind. A sandal maker trades his work for grain. A fisherman trades dried Nile perch for linen. A craftsman's widow trades her late husband's bronze tools for cooking oil and onions. But here's what surprises you most. The women. Egyptian women in 1250 BC have legal rights that women in most of the ancient world won't achieve for 2,000 years. They can own property, sign contracts, divorce their husbands, appear in court. The woman arguing at the grain stall beside you, voice raised, finger pointing. She is not unusual here. She is just a citizen of Egypt, doing what Egyptian citizens do. By midday, the Egyptian sun is not romantic. It is punishing. The temperature in Pi-Ramesses in summer hits over 40 degrees. The streets empty as the population retreats behind thick mud brick walls that stay cool even in the worst heat. The city goes quiet in a way that feels almost eerie after the morning chaos. But the hierarchy of who retreats and where tells you everything about Egyptian society. The craftsmen who build the tombs of the pharaohs live in a walled village called Deir el-Medina, a sealed, controlled community where the state feeds, clothes, and monitors them around the clock. They know too much. The location of the royal tombs, the traps, the passages. They will never leave voluntarily. The slaves, and they exist, though Egypt's slavery is more complex than Rome's, work through the midday heat on the massive construction sites that Ramesses II runs simultaneously across the entire country. The colossal temple at Abu Simbel, the mortuary temple at Abydos, the expansion of Karnak. Egypt under Ramesses is one permanent, empire-wide construction site, and someone has to cut the stone. When the sun finally drops, Egypt transforms again. The light turns the Nile to liquid copper. The limestone temple walls glow amber. The painted statues seem almost to breathe in the warm dusk air. This is the Egypt of the imagination, and for 20 minutes every evening, the reality matches it completely. Ordinary Egyptians eat their evening meal outside, in the small courtyards of their mud brick homes. The food is simpler than you might expect. Flatbread, lentil stew, onions, garlic, dried fish, beer that is thick enough to chew. But it is plentiful. The Nile flood has not failed for 3 generations. Egypt is, by ancient standards, extraordinarily well fed. After the meal, music. Egypt loves music with an intensity that feels modern. Harps, lutes, double flutes, hand drums, clappers. A woman sings in a courtyard near the temple precinct, her voice carrying clearly through the warm evening air. The song is a love poem. Egypt writes more love poetry per capita than any other ancient civilization. Some of it, translated today, reads like it was written last week. After dark, Egypt belongs to the gods, and the gods of Egypt are not comforting. Apophis, the serpent of chaos, tries to swallow the sun every night. The priests of Ammonius perform rituals in the dark interior of the temple to help Ra fight his way through the underworld until dawn. If they fail, if the ritual is not performed correctly, the sun will not rise. Every Egyptian alive in 1250 BC carries this knowledge like weight. The priests do not fail, but the streets of Pi-Ramesses at night carry their own darkness. Without artificial lighting beyond oil lamps and torches, the city is genuinely black between light sources. Scorpions move freely across the mud brick streets. Egypt has 7 species, 4 of them deadly. Cobras nest in the grain stores. The Nile at night carries crocodiles onto the banks. Egypt is magnificent. Egypt is also trying to kill you. And then, before you are ready, the sky begins to lighten again. The priests have succeeded. Ra has survived the underworld. The sun rises over the Nile Delta in that same explosive blaze of gold and orange. And for a moment, standing here, you understand exactly why the Egyptians built everything they built. The pyramids, the temples, the tombs, the rituals, the art. They were not showing off. They were trying to keep this moment, this sunrise, this river, this black fertile earth, alive forever. Ancient Egypt lasted for over 3,000 years. 3,000 years of sunrises over the Nile. 3,000 years of priests waking the gods. 3,000 years of love poems and construction sites and market arguments and crocodiles on the riverbank at night. No civilization in human history has come close. And yet, the Egypt you see in museums, with its white stone and empty silence, tells you almost nothing about what it actually felt like to be alive inside it. Now you know. If you want to see more ancient cities brought back to life, subscribe. Every video in this series places you inside a world that history forgot to describe. What city should we explore next? Tell us below.